come tonight. Light heavyweight champion Roy Jones Jr. defending that title, although doing so 3 pounds below the limit at 172 against Otis Grant, a middleweight coming up 12 pounds in weight for the big opportunity to fight Roy. In weight to take on Roy Jones Jr. as Jones defends his light heavyweight crowns. As we get ready for Roy Jones against Otis Grant, and coming off the performance by Jesse James against Sugar Shane Mosley, my question to you, Larry, can Grant do better against Jones than Leija did against Mosley, particularly given the fact that Otis is a southpaw fighter?
Might be, especially because Jones believes that all southpaws should have been smothered at birth, which was reinforced in his last fight against the southpaw Lou Del Valle, who put him on the canvas for the first time in his career. But Otis Grant has something else going for him. He's a clever, smart fighter, a college graduate, perhaps the only one on the level of this game, the only one I know of. Anyway, and Jones has detected something else about him. He says, if you're trash, he's trash. If you're good, he's good, meaning that he will sink to your level or rise to your level. He's got a lot of rising to do to get to Roy Jones' level, however.
Roy Jones continues to grow in stature as a fighter. He's also doing a lot of talking about his sport. And nowadays, George, before and after every fight, Roy Jones talks extensively about the deteriorative damage that is done to fighters over the course of their careers, the beatings that fighters take, how much he wants to avoid that, how difficult it is for him to mete out that kind of punishment in the ring. He talks about this subject more than any fighter I know. You incidentally are a close second, but we're accustomed to saying that champions have to have a killer instinct. Will it hurt Roy in the ring to be so conscious of the brutality of the sport?
No, anything that you can be conscious about in this sport, believe me, it's an asset. He's an intelligent fighter. He understands that he's going to have a life after boxing, and then he probably should prepare himself, and he will prepare himself in the training camp to protect himself from hurt. Great for the game, great for Roy Jones, great for me.
Tale of the tape between Roy Jones Jr. and Otis Grant. You can see that Grant is a veteran, 30 years old, an inch and a half shorter than Roy. They weighed 171 and 172. Remember that Grant has spent his entire career as a 160-pound fighter, but way back in his second fight in 1989, he fought at 170. He says he's been shrinking himself all these years, and to be at this weight level will be an advantage for him, not a disadvantage. Tonight, Roy Jones outweighs him by 6 pounds as they leave the dressing room and has a 3-inch reach advantage. Punch stat numbers, Larry.
You can see that Roy Jones, very accurate puncher, not overactive. Grant throws many more punches. If what Roy said about Grant is true, that he fights to the level of his opponents, he'll throw fewer punches per round in this fight. Lately, Roy has been throwing harder jabs, if not more jabs, as he becomes a little bit more stable and flat-footed as he advances to age 30.
And the rules of the bout with our unofficial ringside scorer, Grandpa Harold Letterman.
The Roy Jones Jr. Otis Grant fight is scheduled once again for 12 rounds using those unified rules for all World Championship fights. There is no standing 8 count, no 3 knockdown rule. Only the referee can stop the fight, and you cannot be saved by the bell in any round, including the 12th and final round. Jim.
Suddenly it occurs to me I'm the only non-grandfather sitting at the table. Here comes Otis Grant. College graduate, former college basketball player. Certainly one of the most collected and interesting men we've had the privilege of meeting in a fighter meeting for a long, long time.
Not only that, but he has a regular job as a high school counselor. He's only away from it when he fights.
Counseling special needs learners at a high school in Montreal, those with developmental and physical disabilities. He's very close to the kids, and all of them are watching tonight. And the record for Otis Grant, 31 wins. The loss to Quincy Taylor in the 12th round, the former titleist. He was leading that fight when he got knocked out by Taylor. The draw with Johnny Bradley was seen by everyone at ringside as highway robbery. Virtually every objective observer felt that Grant had won that bout. And you saw the knockout number, only 17. Otis Grant is a little bit light in punching power. And that could be his biggest disadvantage tonight, because if you don't have the firepower to get Roy Jones's attention and keep him off of you, you can be in trouble.
Give me a squirt of water.
You need the bucket. Well, the opponent's in the ring. Where's Roy?
Well, you know, Roy wanted to borrow a little of Prince Hamid's act, come in on a runway with smoke and mirrors, not dancing, however, although he certainly has the look of a Michael Jackson with two gloves. But the folks here at Foxwoods who run boxing wouldn't let him. They have achieved a reputation among boxing, in boxing and among promoters as sort of arrogant and a little inflexible. Roy raps before and during fights.
And after. Professional basketball player who's in action in his chosen career. And the record, the one loss, of course, on the disqualification against Montel Griffin when he hit Griffin twice while Griffin was already down on the canvas, and his next fight could he avenge that with a first-round destruction of Griffin in this very room. Hey, check out our website at www.hbo.com/boxing. You can check statistics, scores, chat with other fans, share your impressions of tonight's boxing action at www.hbo.com/boxing, our own active website. Now let's go to ring announcer Mark Barrow for the official introduction.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the wonder of the Connecticut Woods, Foxwoods Resort Casino on the grounds of the Mashantucket Pequot Tribal Nation, Murad Muhammad and M&M Sports and Ring Square Incorporated and Budweiser, the undisputed, undefeated king of beers, This Bud's for You presents the HBO main event of the evening, 12 rounds for the WBC and WBA light heavyweight championships of the world. Ring officials assigned by the World Boxing Council President Jose Suleiman, supervisor in attendance Enza Jacoponi, and by the World Boxing Association President Humberto Mendoza and supervisor York Ben Nixon Jr. Your judges at ringside are, from Brick, New Jersey, Tom Hasmerick, de la Ciudad Panamá de Panamá, Rogelio Perez, and from Paris, France, Daniel Talon. Your referee for this event, from Garden City, New York, the incomparable Arthur Mercanti Sr. Introducing now the principals. First, in the blue corner to my right, wearing the black, gold, and green trunks, he weighs in at 172 pounds. His professional record, 31 wins, 17 wins coming by way of knockout. He hails from Montreal, Quebec, Canada, the WBO middleweight champion of the world and challenger, Otis Magic Grant. His opponent in the red corner, wearing the gold trunks, weighing 171 pounds, with a professional record of 37 victories, 1 defeat, and 31 wins coming by way of knockout. He hails from the home of champions, Pensacola, Florida, the WBC and WBA light heavyweight champion of the world, Roy Jones Jr. Jones Jr. 12 rounds for the WBC and WBA light heavyweight championships. Let's go.
That's heavy.
Right there.
Good evening, Roy and Otis. You both received your instructions earlier in the day. You know the rules. Shake hands now and come out boxing at the bell. Good luck.
Otis Grant said that he would come out into this fight with his hands high so he doesn't get caught with anything stupid, which sounds like a good idea because Roy Jones said he would try to check his chin in the first round.
It's a big night for the Pensacola contingent already. On the undercard, victories for Derek Smoke Gaynor, for Billy Lewis, for David Izon, all of Roy Jones's stablemates who are in the arena fighting tonight. So it's up to Roy now to follow up what has been constructed by his stablemates and keep the Pensacola record perfect for the evening.
And what Grant should want to do is get into as many exchanges as he can and try to land the last shot on the exchanges. Roy Jones went down last time in the latter round because of reckless in exchanges.
Yeah, because he lost his concentration, got himself into a bad position against Lou Duval and got clocked.
That's what you want to do. You want to be in and create and land the last shot in the exchanges, because Roy Jones, he likes to land a hard shot, but he likes moving out of the way afterwards.
Otis Grant lands to the body to begin the thing. Let's go. Arthur Mercanti Sr. and heaven only knows how many championship fights for Mercanti Sr. You got the number, Larry? It's over 100, isn't it?
Oh, about 1,000.
He's something else. Just as much energy as ever.
And he was the third man in the ring in the famous Ali Frazier first fight.
And there's another heavyweight title fight coming up in Madison Square Garden in March.
Who's that, Jim?
Lennox Lewis versus Evander Holyfield. It appears, finally, the details are being worked out. Tactical first round here, George.
Yeah, you want to make sure that you get out there first couple rounds. Don't jump on him. Study films, find out what Roy Jones does not like to do.
Well, until he fought Virgil Hill, Roy Jones seldom threw body punches, but he has suddenly found, after that one punch knockout to the body, that it's a useful weapon.
He used to work without an effective jab, but in the last 4 or 5 fights, he has dramatically improved his jab and is using it throughout the first round here.
The good thing about being a southpaw, you automatically got a defense. Just being on the wrong side like that, it gives you an automatic defense. So the other guy has to work for everything he lands.
And it often nullifies the opponent's jab. So if you're working against a guy who's dependent on working off the jab, that can be a big advantage. But Jones, of course, can go completely without it if he needs to.
Right? You want to stick around boxing a long time, you need a jab.
Step back.
Roy Jones is so quick and able to throw punches from so many angles, he just figures a jab might throw him off. Anything hurts on he's going to take advantage of it.
So, what are we going to do today, Matt?
Jones trying to measure him. Grant doing some talking. College man trying to talk Roy Jones out of this.
Lecturing him. He lectured Roy a couple times during the first round. Jones himself said it was an honor to fight Grant because Grant's a college graduate, the right kind of person to be in the sport. Doesn't mean he isn't going to try to knock him out. Incidentally, I turned to Arthur McCanty Jr., who's seated at the scorer's table next to us, and said, "How many title fights for your dad?" Arthur Jr. said, "I think it's 127. Then he called his dad over and said, 127, is that right? And Arthur Sr. said, "No, it's 133. So he's a third of the way to 400.
That's the way to do it. He looks just as well today.
He's terrific. Round two, still a tactical battle between Roy Jones and Otis Grant. Grant with his southpaw stance, cautious demeanor, trying to land one punch at a time against Roy, who's trying to land one punch at a time against him.
Roy Jones, all he has to do is defend his title. The last time he went out, tried to do a lot of other things. Shoe shining, stepping to the right and left. Didn't happen.
Got knocked down, but still won the fight in a virtual shutout on the scorecard.
Yeah, but you want to get out there and defend your title and fight hard to keep it. Don't do the extra foolishness. Grant should be creating the exchanges. Right now, he's staying away from them.
Left hooks in rapid fire succession by Jones there. He has terrific power off the front foot.
When you're fighting a guy like Roy Jones Jr., you just can't wait for an opening. You just got to just throw your shots.
Stop! You better keep him up, Roy. Keep him up. Let's go.
You wait for something, nothing will ever happen. You just got to go out there and throw reckless punches. Something will happen.
Might happen to you, though, George.
Devastating right hand to the middle of the chest by Jones.
This is the one chance in your life you got to take a chance. No one's going to give you their title.
You're talking about Grant.
Yeah, Grant. He's going to have to take it. No one's going to give you their title.
He doesn't look disposed to take any chances so far.
Coming soon on Discovery Channel.
You mentioned Grant's high punch output in some previous fights, 60, 70 punches around. He's thrown a total of 58 punches by CompuBox numbers in the first 2 rounds, so averaging less than 30 punches per round. More devastatingly, he's 0 for 39 in his jabs, and you heard Alton Murkerson telling Roy Jones he just pushes his jab out there. Go ahead and attack it.
Doesn't help your opponent when you're fast, plus you go to the body also. Roy Jones, he's doing the whole thing here.
Jones whacking twice to the body with the right hand, targeting the middle of Grant's chest and finding the target.
Now Jones again starting to step around to the left and to the right, something he shouldn't have to do now. He's in charge of this fight. A lot of that starts to take the sting out of your legs. In the latter rounds, you start to feel it.
And Jones landed a right hand upstairs as Grant finally dropped the guard, with Roy whacking away constantly to his body. Grant's punch output still limited in this round. He still throws the jab about 2/3 of the distance. When he lands, it's normally with a tentative left hand, sometimes to the body.
When you're fighting at this weight, you just can't waste a lot of footwork. And sometimes a guy can hurt you not because he's the puncher, just because he's big. For the moment, they're heavyweights.
There's a redness, kind of a beginning abrasion under the left eye of Otis Grant, where Roy has targeted him with the right hand on a couple of occasions.
See, now Grant is starting to get into the exchanges. After he hits you, throw something, whether you miss or not. Throw something back.
Vicious left hook to the body right underneath the right arm of Grant. George, if you keep sticking the jab out there without any intention of trying to land it, is it doing you any good?
Well, it makes a guy try to look past the left hand, but it's not doing a whole lot of good. But he has to stop and think and start all over again once you put it out there. And that's what you want to do, make him start all over again if he's thinking about doing something. Stick the hand of the jab out there. A lot of those punches are hitting Grant right on the elbows.
Trying to just move away from the shoulders up so that his body is still there to hit. Roy told us before the fight he wasn't going to try to kill this guy, but he won't babysit him either, and that sounds about right.
Now the babysitter is the big guy who's sitting with Roy's 2 7-year-old sons. Jones starting to get a little more aggressive as round 4 begins. Otis Grant still finding it difficult to get at Roy and engage him in exchanges.
That's what he needs, an exchange. You know, you sometimes, that was the right hand by Jones.
Devastating right hand. Grant trying to reach for something to hold on to. Roy keeps going. Grant's starting to get his legs back now, but he was stunned.
He wasn't babysitting him there.
Jones grinning at photographers at ringside. Grant moving with every Jones feint. And when Roy gets you moving with his feints, he'll play you like a yo-yo.
You got to expect that now. When you're working out with lightweights in the gym, they do the same thing that Jones is doing to Grant. So he's got to concede some of that. And just, hey, he's quicker.
Now Otis finally got into Jones's body and hammered him a couple times to the ribcage. That was, frankly, the best assault I've seen from Otis Grant so far. From 3 different angles in that assault.
That's why he's skeptical about throwing a left jab, because he's got so many things on his mind to do as far as power punches are concerned. Now that was the exchange. That's the exchange Grant wanted to create for himself. Let him hit you with 4, get in one good one.
That's the kind of left-hand shot Duvall was able to catch Jones with.
You want the exchanges because you're not small like he's accustomed to.
Grant in trouble on another right hand.
He's been devastated not by power but by speed now. It's the difference.
Speed kills. And you can see what a sportsman Otis Grant is. He laughs and pats Jones on the butt like, man, you are something.
That's why he's afraid to lead, because Roy is just so quick. It's just another class of athlete, a higher class of athlete.
So quick, so punishing.
Southpaw, 20-0, 20-37.
Roy Jones Jr. Jim, I want to tell you, I saw all the great light heavyweights. This guy's the fastest thing I've ever seen for a light heavyweight. I love that move in round 4 where he turned away and then turned in with that right hand at the end of round 4. Roy Jones Jr. really showing us all the moves, all the power. Tremendous combination punching. In his second round, they hit him a 5-punch combination with that left hand before he pulled his left arm back. Whoa, Roy Jones in this one.
What Grant was able to do, he made Roy Jones throw his jab, duck under it, and step back. This guy is thinking, I'm telling you. That wasn't a good one.
Well, he's definitely a thinking fighter.
But he has to be more of a fighting fighter. Put Roy a little bit on the defensive.
Yeah, because by doing this, he gives Jones room and time to make whatever choice he wants to make.
I mean, this is the graduate school of hard knocks. This is not an undergraduate school for education.
The graduate school of super fast hard knocks.
This guy has no respect for the power that Jones has, just the speed. Good straight left hand by Grant this time, right between the chest and the chin.
Best punch of the fight.
You throw these shots for 2 or 3 rounds, Roy Jones tries to pay you back, and you got a fight going. Jones should have been a little more aggressive with the jab so that this guy doesn't get a lot of courage to start doing these things.
Well, Grant is a guy who's accustomed to outboxing his opponents.
Okay.
And part of what you're saying, George, is that he won't be able to outbox Roy Jones. He's going to have to outfight him in some way, shape, or form. It's a hard transition to make. Grant came into the fight telling us, we're not going to worry about what Roy Jones does. He's a great fighter, and we don't have any control over that. All we'll be able to do is try to govern.
Now you go to exchanges now.
Yep. And he gets to Jones's body against the ropes.
There's more to crispy flavor in our body.
CompuBox oddity. Through 5 rounds, Otis Grant is an unbelievable 0 for 91 in jabs. 91 jabs thrown, none landed so far by CompuBox numbers on the part of Otis Grant. Jones, of course, is the fighter who once held Vinny Pazienza without a punch connect for an entire round. Only fighter ever since the origination of CompuBox punch count to hold a fighter without a connect for an entire round.
Whoa, good straight left by Grant. He's counting on these exchanges, and I'm telling him because of the size of his shoulders, he can benefit by them in the latter rounds. Roy Jones has got to keep jabbing a little bit and set things up behind the left jab.
And Roy, just as you say that, begins to lift the left arm and jab just a little bit.
There's nothing wrong with a left jab.
And Grant bull rushing Jones now. Duvall tried that, and it worked a couple of times. That's one way to create exchanges, is go forward.
That's right, and nothing happened to him when he went forward like that. He's got to find a happy medium to go forward with a shot.
Roy looks like he's trying a little too hard to land devastating punches rather than to just fight him and land whatever is there.
Good, another exchange.
What an uppercut.
There was the devastating punch.
Now that's the danger of going forward. 7, 8.
A perfectly timed uppercut. Tries it again.
Now he's holding.
Grant intelligently tries to hold on, but doesn't get enough of a piece. Now he's got him.
And Roy Jones threw an uppercut that time.
And Grant's legs don't look too good as he goes backward to the middle of the ring. That front leg is stiff, and Jones knows it. He's attacking him. Grant's still a little wobbly.
There's that exchange that Grant can benefit by now.
Too much on the defensive at this moment, though. He's starting to get his consciousness back a little.
Yeah, that is another exchange. He was able to land a good looping left hand. You're not going to stop Jones from being good. What you want to do is get in one yourself.
I think Jones is hoping Grant will come at him again and he can try that uppercut one more time.
Grant showing some resilience here.
1 hour figure skating lesson, $55.
It might have landed like high on the chest, just the force of the blow seemed to turn him over.
Well, he tried to get his knee from out of that position. That's why he started to roll over backwards. He was caught good. When you fight a fighter like Roy Jones, you got to count the cost, how much it's going to cost to build this house prior to it. Hey, there are going to be some knockdowns, there are going to be some scratches, but hey, I got to stay in there and good things can happen. You just don't want too many of them.
Best thing that can happen is the fight should end as quickly as possible for Otis Grant.
Otis Grant, a dedicated sportsman, certainly wants to compete to the best of his ability here. You heard him tell his trainer-manager Russ Anber between rounds, I'm fine. I can see the punches coming.
Just can't get out of the way.
He's waiting for one good shot. Roy Jones, his eyes are too good for that.
Let's mix it up. Let's get going.
I was just about to say that it's almost as if they're posing as slow motion statues. Arthur McKinney, good for you.
I wonder, can you take points from guys?
That's what he said, but what would you do? Paralyze them both?
Right.
So what?
Make it a 9-9 round.
I mean, Grant should be commended. He's knocked down the last round. He's back into this thing. He's got the guy hesitant.
That's exactly right. I'm not even sure it's the referee's business.
That's right. Hey, I've lived through all of this.
I disagree. I think they're here to fight, and if they're just standing there and looking at each other and posing, I think what Arthur McKinney did was exactly right.
Well, but by what authority? I mean, it's a good suggestion. There's little he can do to make them do something if both are going to do the same thing. I mean, again, as we say, penalize them both at point, make it a 9-9 round.
Grant benefit. No action. He can thoroughly recover from that knockdown.
No question. The longer it goes without Roy hitting him, the better off Grant is. He's not hitting Roy enough anyway. There's another straight right, and Grant grabs and holds.
Yeah, this guy, Roy Jones, is starting to load up now.
We're gradually getting into the area where the Mosley-Leha fight wound up. And the question becomes, how much punishment does Grant want to take? We've already seen it once before tonight.
There's no law that says...
Roy Jones standing flat-footed, eyes wide open.
Yeah, looking for another chance to land his right hand. That's the punch that's done most of the damage.
And he's not tired.
Well, Roy, he gets the luxury of fighting at a measured pace because via his quickness and his astonishing counterpunching ability, he limits his opponent's output so much that he can sort of take his time and pick his shots.
Nothing happens until he's ready.
That's right.
Those are exchanges that Grant should be in on. You don't have to wait to hit him. Just put your hands up.
But getting into those exchanges creates the possibility that Roy catches it again close with another one of those uppercuts. And there's a great the circumstances, that's a terrific effort.
You gotta create something if you're gonna fight for the title. Once in a lifetime chance. You just gotta gamble.
Otis Grant fighting out of Montreal doesn't get the publicity or the opportunities that other North American fighters might get. He knew what this meant to him.
Roy Jones is going around to the body, going over left and right side, protecting himself from any hard punches later on in the fight. Taking a lot of the power away from Grant. If he had any
left hand upstairs. Yeah, he doesn't have much punching power. As we showed 17 knockouts in his 32 wins coming in. They certainly didn't expect to knock out Roy Jones.
Hit him in the chest that time.
And just as Jesse James Leha was brave against Shane Mosley, so too is Otis Grant honorably brave against Roy Jones.
Grant's only chance is to get into one of those exchanges, catch Roy Jones leaning in a little bit. No hope for him to stand on the outside and box him and get a shot.
Instead, he comes forward and catches another one of those whistling uppercuts. Oh, Mercanti took a left. Grant goes all the way to Jones's corner to slap his glove. Harold, how do you have it through 8?
Real big for Roy Jones. 8-0, 80-71. A dominating performance by Roy Jones Jr. Just keeps hammering him with those left hooks, the straight right hands, the combinations. I mean, the total package. So this is just one of the most one-sided fights I've ever judged, Jim. I mean, it's a total no-brainer as far as the scoring is concerned.
That Jones is starting to use his left jab. I like that.
Harold, your daughter Julie scored several of the undercard fights here tonight. Did you critique her work?
I can't, Jim. She punches harder than I do. But she's still the best judge in the family.
She scores just as well.
Roy Jones, good left hook and out of the way.
You know, earlier tonight I said we would be watching performance art or a concert tonight rather than competition. Concerts are great for music and comedy, but I'm not sure this has had the drama that we want to see in boxing.
Well, it's been jazz, not rock and roll, as Roy Jones is quite content to land one punch at a time, if that's all that's possible.
Yeah, he shouldn't have, look, you're the champ. Win the fight. Don't create and do more than you have to. You can end up getting hurt. Now, he was hit with a good sliding right hand that time.
And Roy doesn't like to get hit, by his own candid admission.
It would be good for Grant to keep that fight just like that for a few rounds. Just keep it like that.
There you go.
Roy Jones can do nothing when he's on the rope. Why not just keep him on the rope? Let the referee say break, back up, jump right back on him.
This is one of the best things Grant can do. It limits Jones's power, and it gives him a chance to land.
Roy Jones is saying, come now.
Grant busts Jones with a left and a right, and then ties Roy up as Jones tries to retaliate. Suddenly, round 9 isn't such a bad frame for Otis Grant.
Evidently now, the corners, put him in the corners, not just on the rope, but take him back to the corners.
Something Griffin was able to do in the first fight with Jones before the disqualification. Something Mike McCallum was able to do against Jones in what became an easy Roy Jones decision. elimination.
One of those snakes, venom, strike shit. No one even saw it, but it hurts. Viper.
And Harold Letterman gave the 9th round to Otis Grant, a round in which Grant, by CompuBox numbers, landed 13 of 23 punches, meaning when he was able to throw, he landed.
Or he went into his corner the last time, walking sideways.
Oh, he was hurting for certain, and you heard him say to his cornerman, "I got caught with a body shot. You can see the pain."
You think that Roy Jones knows it, George?
I don't think so. I think the body punching is just an application here, you know.
Roy Jones is gradually painting a picture on Otis Grant's face. Goes back to the body with the left hand there. Grant ducking down to try to avoid the body punches. Straight right hand by Jones. And on a delayed reaction, the third official knockdown of the fight.
6, 7, 8. And Grant is blinking in the corner.
And his corner's going to throw in the towel.
That's right. Good, referee. No, that's right. Don't allow him to stop the fight. It's a good idea. The referee is wise this time. And you just got to step in and say no. The guy was okay. You allowed him to get up.
But the trainer-manager, Russ Anber, who has been with Otis Grant from the very beginning, made it unequivocal. He wanted the fight stopped.
Harold, Larry, let me tell you, if the trainer, the chief second, steps on the apron, under the rules, the fight is over. Okay? You can't throw the towel in. The Canty's right for not recognizing the towel. But when a chief second wants the fight stopped, he steps on the apron, and that's it. The chief second does have that right to stop the fight.
Well, Anber was all the way into the ring, and I'm not sure McCanty was clear yet that he was going to stop it, because McCanty had a lot of respect for the fighter, who looked okay, but Anber made it abundantly clear when he came through the ropes and put himself in the center of the ring.
The important thing is that the trainer and manager did the right thing.
You got it?
Both fights were similar in this regard. The champions just came up against fighters who were prepared to take a lot of punishment and did, and eventually were beaten down by body punches. Very similar fights in different styles.
I think it was brave of the referee to say, oh, no. It's kind of brave. You don't hardly see that anymore.
Well, this guy's a classy guy, Otis Grant. And the relationship he has with his trainer-manager is obviously a friendship as well as a professional relationship, and that's what Anber was expressing, I think.
Yeah, he benefited, no doubt about it. He can come back another day with one not so fast.
There's the knockdown. I'm not sure Grant thought he was going to lose his balance on that. It's the kind of punch he had taken effectively earlier in the bout. And maybe that's what prompted Anber to say, hey, wait, if he goes down on that, he's had enough.
But I think it was great that the referee made that decision. I mean, that's a decision for boxing.
Arthur McCanty in title fight number 133 for him. Scorecards, Jones was ahead by 9 or 10 points on all three cards. Headed toward an easy victory. He gets the technical knockout in round number 10. Shane Mosley got his after the 9th.
Well, no, Art says we can keep the glove.
And Jones festooning himself with title belts. They've gotten bigger since the old days, haven't they, George?
Yeah, they keep getting bigger and bigger.
Not big enough for you now.
They never did fit my waist.
Now, there's the towel, which was thrown into the ring, and McCanty grabbed it and said, I'm going to toss the towel out of here. But here comes Anber jumping over the ropes, you saw.
You had no choice but to stop it then when your cornerman come in. It's a disqualification anyway.
And even at that point, I think McCanty still wanted to offer the opportunity to the fighter to go forward. But as Harold Letterman clearly told you, by the rules, the fight was over as soon as Anber was on the apron. Puts one in mind of Lou Duva standing on the apron when Meldrick Taylor saw his fight stopped against Julio Cesar Chavez with 2 seconds to go. So now, I have to assume we're ready to go to Mark Barrow for the official particulars.
Ladies and gentlemen, the blue corner has requested a stoppage of this bout. Referee Arthur Mercanti Sr. has complied at 1 minute, 18 seconds of the 10th round. The winner by technical knockout and still WBC and WBA light heavyweight champion of the world, Roy Jones Jr.
Punch stat numbers, one-sidedly in favor of Jones, who landed 107 more punches. Both guys throwing sparingly. I mean, that's an output of about 40 punches a round for Roy, and for Grant, it's more like 25 punches per round. So you can see a lot of this was just Jones landing power shots. He only landed 28 out of the 101 jabs he threw, and check it out.
That Jones is just so fast.
Generously, we give Grant credit for a 1% connect rate on his jabs. It was really, more like 0.7%. A showcase doubleheader tonight at Foxwoods. In the first of 2 championship bouts, you saw the brilliant lightweight titleist Shane Mosley retaining his championship with a TKO at the end of the 9th round. The very professional Jesse James Leha simply taking too much punishment, too many vicious body shots, suffering a few knockdowns, and finally calling it quits against the outstanding Mosley. And then Roy Jones picked up right where Mosley left off with a similar display of body punches and a fusillade of power right hands upstairs. Jones knocked Otis Grant down 3 times and ultimately forced Grant's corner to call for a stoppage in the bout. Roy Jones continuing to stamp himself as perhaps the greatest pound for pound in the sport. Coming up immediately following our show, stay tuned for the Chris Rock Show on the East Coast and the Rainmaker in the Mountain and West Coast time zones. And in just a moment, we'll show you how you can contribute to the Gerald McClellan Fund, courtesy of, or compliments of HBO. So now for everyone here at Foxwoods, I'm Jim Lampley saying so long. The executive producer of HBO Sports, Ross Greenberg. Tonight's World Championship Boxing Show, produced by Dave Harmon and directed by Mark Payton. Feature producers John Crystal and Thomas Odelfeld. Associate producer Max Siegel. Assistant to the producer Lisa Bennett. Production manager was John McCalley. Technical supervisor Bob Hunter. And the technical director was Doug Getz.
James, Lights Out Tony, and Prince Charles Williams.
The Network of Champions.
A touted guy has the one loss. Rahman is unbeaten.
Yeah, I'm surprised at how high people are on Rahman. He looks like a good overall fighter, but decent anyway. But if Rahman were to beat David Tua, you got to give him a lot of credit. I'd be impressed. I don't see it happening. I think Tua hits too hard. He's the better prospect. But you're right. It's a significant heavyweight fight without question.
David Tua with one loss, a close decision to Ike Ibiabuchi. Rahman with wins over Jesse Ferguson and Obed Sullivan, not really upper tier. No. Tua with wins over David Izon, Darrell Wilson, John Ruiz. Very good wins. Look for Tua to look good in that one, but Rahman is right there. Also, time for you to get involved here on Friday Night Fights on ESPN.com. You can click in there and ask your question to Max Kellerman here, to the Max, ESPN.com. And, we got questions all the time. Look at that jab. Lightning fast. Hey, what's the deal
with 21 knockouts? The Sacramento native has been impressive in 1998, winning all 6 of his bouts with 5 big knockouts. He talks about being on the verge of a championship shot.
I do think I'm prepared to be number one. I think I'm prepared to do everything that everybody expects of me to do. And that means to go out there and perform every fight and fight that caliber of fighter.
23-year-old Gary St. Clair was born in Georgetown, Guyana, now fighting out of Brooklyn, New York. He has 15 wins with 7 knockouts, and he realizes his golden opportunities tonight.
I got to win my fight tonight. It's either do or die. Got my whole country, the whole of Brooklyn, whole everybody just looking out, you know what I'm saying?
21-year-old Diego Corrales took this fight on 3 weeks preparation. We saw him here on the Deuce on November the 20th in Las Vegas, a 5th-round stoppage of Hector Arroyo. Gary St. Clair, a 6.5-month layoff. He had managerial problems. He says it will not be his distraction tonight. He's won 4 straight by way of decision. For the introductions, here's our ring announcer, Jim Hall.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Friday Night Fights on the Deuce. We're at California State University Sacramento Hornet Gymnasium as Don Shargan Productions, in association with Budweiser, the undefeated, undisputed king of beers, present an evening of professional boxing. This bout is sanctioned by the California State Athletic Commission, Chairman Ernest H. Weiner, Executive Officer Rob Lynch, Vice Chairman Dr. Terso Del Junco Jr., Commissioners Andrew Kim, Cal Soda, and Elmer Costa. Our timekeeper is Stan Gordon. Physicians at ringside, Dr. Van Buren Lemons and Dr. Smith Ketchum. And now, ladies and gentlemen, this is our main event of the evening, an IBF World Championship Elimination bout featuring 2 undefeated boxers. The winner of this fight will next compete for the world title. It is scheduled for 12 rounds in the junior lightweight division. 3 judges are assigned to score this bout. They are Dave Nelson, Steve English, and Joan Ortega. When the bell rings, your referee in charge of the action is John Shorley. And now, ladies and gentlemen, introducing first in fighting out of the red corner. He's wearing black and white and weighed in at 130 pounds. He's had 15 victories, 7 by knockout with no losses and just 1 draw. From Georgetown, Guyana, here's Gary St. Clair. St. Clair. His opponent across the ring fighting out of the blue corner. He's wearing white and red. He weighed in at 130 pounds also. He too undefeated with 25 victories, 21 by knockout. From Sacramento, here is Diego Corrales.
Well, the crowd is set. Let's take a look at the California rules for tonight's 12-round IBF elimination bout. No 3 knockdown rule, no standing 8 count. Fighter can be saved with bell in the last round only. Accidental foul, they'll go to the scorecards after the 4th round begins. Prior to that, it will be a technical draw. Diego Chico Corrales, 25-0, grew up in Oak Park section of Sacramento, California. He is an accomplished chef, graduated from the Leader Wolf Culinary Academy. He'd like to have his own restaurant someday. But he also specializes in punching power. He rated his performance against Hector Arroyo just a 5 out of 10. And Gary St. Clair, well, this is a man that spent time working with Arturo Gatti. I don't know how much that will help him for tonight's fight, but one thing that we know, St. Clair was given some pretty tough workouts.
Yeah, another thing we know is you couldn't have different styles than Gatti and Corrales. Corrales, a tall guy,